Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Paupergeddon 2024, the Rock Horror Monster MTG event of the year. This is where we're bringing you all the best Pauper players around Europe, and they are playing in the Italian Pauper leagues to get some to here to be the top Pauper player. That is what is on the line. We had 124 players started this morning. Bowed it out in 7 rounds of Magic before we started the top 8 last round. We are now down to the final 4 players, but we need to work that 4 down to 2, so then we can bring you the final, where I think Gavin Verhey is going to be one of the casters in the booth for that. So make sure you don't go anywhere, but before that we have to find out. I think there's some headset issues here with my host, so I'm going to start talking about who is my host. Who is next to me? Well, that is Sapo, and my name is Will Hall. We've been bringing you commentary all day long. We've got loads of members of the Pauper panel also taking part this weekend, so lots of good questions, hard-hitting questions I've been throwing at them, and we're going to have a nice little panel talk with them live on the stream tomorrow at the end of the day, because tomorrow is where Paupergeddon kicks off. That in itself is a 2-day event, the old GP style of formats. Everyone kind of we molded to that. We love that. We love seeing it. It's very rare we get that now in Magic the Gathering, but that's what they're bringing back here at Paupergeddon. So 2 days of more Pauper action in total. 3 whole days of Pauper action.
Yeah, of course. I wait this event all over here. I'm so happy. I'm so excited.
It's a hell of an event, my friend. It's a hell of an event.
I'm happy, like a Christmas,
it's like Christmas
a child on the Christmas morning. Yeah.
And it's so not just because of the Pauper, right? Like the Pauper out there. I think my headset's gone now, chat. Just saying chat might not be able to hear me now. But in general, this event is, yes, it's 3 days of Pauper, but there's also the side events. We've got the beer side event going on, where you can win yourself some official brewed for Paupergeddon beer. And then we've also got what you were talking about, everyone from the local regions, because everywhere around Europe has tried to qualify to play in this event. They all bring their local food, like the delicacy of their regions here, so everybody can kind of trial all that, like real delicate food from those regions.
Yeah, we like to enjoy the gathering part of Magic the Gathering.
That's what this event is. This is the gathering part of Magic, and over 1,000 players are going to be playing over this weekend. We've got 700 plus registered for Paupergeddon. There's the artists in the room as well. There's the big screen, so everyone's literally watching this broadcast right now. It's a little wave to you all there. I know you are out there watching. It's going to be awesome to see as we move into this top 4, where our main feature match is going to be the Affinity Grixis list versus the Core Gates list. How does this kind of pan out on paper? Which one would you say is more favored?
We already saw both players during the. It's okay. Okay.
Let's get down to it while we talk about that. So both players are sat down, they're ready to go, opening hands drawn, they're waiting for our go ahead. So let's kick off these semi-finals. As you're talking about, what do you think is more favored on paper, especially game 1?
I think that it depends a lot on the starting hands of Colgates. Because Colgates is a particular that allows him to play as an aggro or to play as a control. You can easily switch your gameplay during the match.
As we've seen, new MH3 card coming down, Sneak Snacker. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, of course. It's a good card. It performs really well today.
So talk to me. With Gates, we're seeing the powerful card tonight. What is Gates trying to do? Like, to me, Gates in the day was like a fog effect, and we tried to get all the Gates, and we tried to win that way. This isn't that sort of Gates deck, right?
Fog effects are not so effective in this deck.
Yeah, but I say like
a lot of
the old
deck. Yeah. But you have a removal spell, so you need to do a little bit control before starting your race. And remember that colorless creatures can easily block your Guardian of the Guild Pact.
So
has protection from monocolor. So you need to be control deck before starting your aggro plan.
So but how does this deck? Why is it called Gates? Why does it win? What is the plan of this deck? If I can have the perfect opening hand and have the perfect way to finish the game, what are the key cards in this deck?
Of course, the closing, the most powerful card is a combo of Basilisk Gate.
Yep, which does what? Sorry,
that allows you to pump to give +6/+6 to creatures, equal to the number of gates you control.
Okay, so the longer the game goes, the more gates I've got in play, the better effects I'm going to get from that. And what sort of creatures can I target with that?
You can do it on a lot of evasive creatures. For example, we can see the birds,
Squadron Hawks come down
here, or the creatures that the flips from the Mother Nature that call the Vector Glider.
The 2/3, yeah.
The 2/3 with flying. You can beat with the creatures and pump with the Basilisk Gate, so you can easily deal a lot of damages, or you can beat with the Sacred Cat. That is a
lifelinker.
Is a huge card against the aggro decks of the metagame that allows you to remain high as life.
It's basically gaining huge chunks. You can hit with huge chunks of damage, and normally it's got some sort of evasion or an effect like lifelink on it. So you're gaining either some advantage because your creature's unblockable, flying, or lifelink.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the...
That's the plan, but you have also a lot of control spell. For example, you have removals, you have counters, so you have fog effects. So you have a lot of interaction that allows you to stay in live the first turn and beat down for lethal when you have the control of the bird and of the opponent player.
And then let's go across to the Grixis Affinity list. This is a deck that I feel takes real big advantage of Pauper, having a lot of cheap artifacts. Some of them just being our lands in general that can come into play untapped in itself, which is a huge powerful draw. What else is the Affinity deck trying to do? What's the engine of this deck?
Of course, the artifact as
Affinity
for the creation of the Affinity keyword mirrored in block. The core of the deck are artifacts. So you play artifact lens, you play artifact that allows you to draw. For example, the Ichor Wellspring. You play a lot of artifacts that allows you to play big creatures, for example,
as we see the Enforcer on the battlefield now,
or the Refurbished Familiar, that is a 2/1, cost 4, but with affinity, with
one of the new cards from Modern Horizons 3 that we're seeing a lot of play. Gavin was saying he was playing that card today and he said he basically just didn't draw that card enough. He was like, every time I drew this card, I was winning my games, I was running away, but when I didn't draw the card, it wasn't going so great for me.
It is a great card. A lot of appeal on the players. So I saw some lists today, and a lot of lists played that card.
It's a very good card. It is I've said it before, the grief of Pauper. It is we've got grief at home. It is a Pauper version of it because it's always going to be a 2-for-1. It's not an ETB when it ends the battlefield, your opponent discards a card, and then if they don't have any cards, there's no effect. If they've got no cards, you get to draw a card. So it's always going to be some sort of 2-for-1 going forward. As we see, Galvanic Blast is going to take the 2/3 off the battlefield, leaving the gates open for the Sneaky Snacker to get turned sideways. Of course, it is a 2/1 flyer. Now, talk to me about some of the interactions this Sneaky Snacker. This wasn't a card on many people's radar at the start when Modern Horizons 3 was spoiled, but now with the later, it's going on in Pauper, we're really utilizing how good this card can be in these Grixis Affinity lists.
This is one of the most famous interaction of the deck that allows you to draw 2 cards. And draw 2 cards in your turn allow you to return that card on the battlefield top, because the core ability of the Sneaky Snacker is that when you draw your 3rd card every turn, you can return that card to the battlefield top. So he's an immortal creature. You have a lot of ways that allow you to return on the battlefield. So you can champ block, you can sacrifice with a bargain effect, and it will return immediately. So it's a good engine for drawing cards. It's a good engine for champ block. I really like this card too. Yeah, Affinity is an evergreen deck that.
Evergreen.
It's an evergreen deck. In Pauper, always exists an Affinity deck.
But
in every meta, in every kind of scenario, there were always an Affinity deck.
But it's going to be, because there's always going to be an Affinity deck, there's always going to be good sideboard cards against it, right? Like mostly every color is going to have some sort
Artifact hate is always in evergreen too.
You've got to have it basically because you're always going to go up against some sort of Affinity list. I see you chat, I see what you're saying, and I am asking the question about where they're going to be posting the deck lists for the top 8. They're literally uploading them now to, I'm being told, Pauper Wave is the website. So once we get that website, we'll start getting that posted in the chat so you can all go and have a little look yourself at the exact 75 that all 8 decks that managed to make it into the top 8. Reminder of those top 8 decks that did get in. We had 2 of the Affinity decks that you're seeing now, these Grixis ones. We had 2 Ponza lists. Obviously, Ponza, again, some new of the Modern Horizons 3 cards showing up in that. The Chrysalis is a real big key standout card. We've got 1 Wolves deck. We've got 1 Jeskai Ephemerate list. We've got 1 Glee combo, and we've got 1 that you're seeing on deck, the Gates deck, which has managed to make its way into the top 4. Do we know what 2 decks managed to make it into the other semi-final?
I think that there is a Ponza and a Wall.
Ponza and Wolves in the other semi-final. Okay, cool. We'll try and get confirmation on that, because that again, that's really good to see that there's 4 different decks in the top 4, even though we've had Modern Horizons 3s coming out.
No, I'm surely wrong. Quali sono gli altri 2 ragazzi?
You're going to find out for us, because
we're asking.
You speak the native language. I do not. I just ask the questions. You find out for me, and I appreciate that. So what we saw there is a little bit more value happened. Sneaky Snacker went to the graveyard. It came back. It's going to come back tapped. Still enforced on the battlefield. Big, powerful 4/4. But these Squadron Hawks, very good chump blockers against the 2/1 on the other side. We know what it does. This is going to be what's it called? It's not called O-Ring, is it? It's called
Journey to Nowhere.
Say that one more time.
Journey to Nowhere.
Journey to Nowhere. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And it's Oblivion Ring only with on creature.
On creatures. Yeah. And there's a lot of them in this format, right? Like pretty much every good deck at the minute has got some sort of creature, so it's never not going to have a target. There's only a couple of decks that I guess doesn't play creatures. Poison Storm.
Poison Storm.
I said I'm waiting for you to
Turbo Fog 2 is a deck that don't play.
Oh man, that is not a deck I like playing against or with.
Don't you like it?
The other semi-final is Wolves versus Ponza.
Wolves versus Ponza.
You're correct. Right. Yeah, the other semi-finals is Wolves versus Ponza. And when I was speaking to Gavin last round, he felt like that is not a good matchup for Ponza. Like, sure, destroy my lands. All my walls are the ones making me mana and making me go through it. And I think Wolves in the quarter, was also up against the other Ponza deck. So it looks like they've already beat 1 Ponza in the top 8. Potentially, they're only 1 more game away from being able to get into the finals.
You play Quirion Ranger too, that allows you to save your land.
So you just bounce it back. You're going to target my land? Great, I'll just bounce it back to me. And it tends to be
you remove the Quirion or to destroy the non-forest land. But you play only forest.
But once a wall hits the battlefield, that's it. It's on the battlefield. There's no targeted removal, so you can't deal with those key walls, which means it gets to kind of just do its game plan.
Yep.
And turn and burn, and the Ponza deck doesn't have any good sweepers or any good 1-for-1 removal. But back to this matchup where we've got the Gates deck versus Grixis Affinity. Grixis Affinity kind of turning and burning, doing its own thing, but then it also looks like the Gates deck is doing its own thing at the minute. Kind of very level playing field on both sides, but now we do have a internalized cat back on the battlefield, so that is a 1/1 life linker. I have no idea what that card's from. Is that a Pokemon card? Is that
I think that's a token of Sacred Cat.
Oh, it's just a fancy token made from it. Okay, sure.
Yeah, because one Sacred Cat is exiled.
Is it a token, or is that an actual playable card in another card game that someone's just bought it along because it's a cat? I don't know
if it's a Pokemon card. I don't recognize.
I don't know. Chat will be able to work out. Chat plays a lot of different decks, and chat knows everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
Chat is what we need.
Chat could cure so many diseases, but they just choose not to because they like to watch the game. That is Magic the Gathering. And just tell us when it's someone saying, chat saying, no, we don't. We
Pretty nice removal here because that token with lifelink allows you to gain a lot of life if you have, of course,
at the race to our favor. Yeah.
And affinity players can't permit to gain too much life.
It looks to me like it might be like a Final Fantasy card or something like that, or like one of these other ones. But chat's saying maybe it's a Force of Will card.
No idea, too.
Obviously, we got to say when it's Force of Will, it's it's a Force of me.
Force of Will. Okay. We will ask to Simone.
Blitz, how we doing? Okay, yeah, we are monitoring your chat. So we hope you're having a good day and enjoyed the day so far, especially if you've joined us since round number 1. But of course, you'd have to be in Europe for that because we would have started very early for everybody in a America, Brazil type era. Let's have a little look. We're going. Blitz has had a hell of a run as well recently in Magic, so huge shout out. It is a Force of Will card.
Confirmed.
See? Who in chat got that right?
The chat was right again.
I told you, chat is always right. No matter what, they're always right. And you must be thinking, why are these two waffling about force of will cards? What's going on here? Basically, we're at the middle of this game where both players are in the tank. There's a lot of cards in hand, a lot of decisions, and over the next couple of turns, it could be really, game changing what they want. And we've seen this before. Pioneer is a death by 1,000 cuts. Like, this turn was thought about 3 turns ago. We're now thinking about 3 turns ahead of this turn and how they could potentially play out and how we can utilize all these small advantages to our advantage to be able to take over the game.
Yeah, snowballing is the way to play this kind of deck. There are a lot of decks that has a lot of these micro choices that allows you to accumulate micro advantages for the game. I think that for example, with Affinity deck, you need to push more than you can.
Someone in chat's asking about the Flickertron players.
Flickertron is one of the most difficult deck to play due to this fact that you have a lot of choices.
So do you think that's really the reason why we don't see many of them doing well or even turning up this weekend? I think that only 4 copies were playing.
It's a really
difficult
deck. There's a high risk to draw, and today isn't the day that this tournament don't permit you to draw, because we need to win all matches to make a good result.
I was speaking to a few of the players out there that said that realistically that's their deck. They would have bought their deck, but they feel like the inclusion of Fraven Charm now being printed, having the ability to exile graveyards, the new Fraven Charm.
Fraven Charm, yeah.
So now that that's in the format, they're saying that they can't bring that deck. The fact that there's a 2-mana main deck spell that can exile graveyards.
A really giant card against Affinity, for example, as you can see right now. It can exile the graveyard if
we're seeing an outlet,
or for example, destroy the enchantment.
But the fact that it's got 3 modes and one of them is being exile type graveyard, that hurts the Tron Flicker decks.
Yeah,
because they utilize bringing those cards back from the graveyard. And now that there's a main deck answer in a common color in Pioneer, they're like, I just can't bring the deck. The whole deck folds to that one card being printed and seeing so much play.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. But
and if there's a lot of punches,
Sneaky Snacker is always there.
Sneaky Snacker is always going to do its job of coming back.
But this was hardcasted.
And this is where we're going to see. So hardcast, sacrifice it, draw our next 2 cards. Of course, 1 card that was drawn was 1 for the turn. Now we draw an extra 2 from this, which means both of them come back from the graveyard. So the longer the game goes, the more Sneaky Snackers we get, the more that we're going to be adding power every time we do this. And here comes the other MH3 card that we've spoken a lot about this weekend, the Refurbished Familiar. ETB, discard a card. If your opponent has no cards in hand, you get to draw a card, as well as coming across with a 2/1 body. Of course, normally a 4-drop, Affinity, it's 1 mana in this deck.
How do you call a Grateful Rat?
A Grateful Rat?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you call a Grateful Rat?
Ratatouille.
Oh my God.
Sorry, this was bad.
Chat, if you don't want to vote against that joke, I'm going. I'm out of here.
This is a bad dad joke.
Yeah, like PauperGeddon in itself is huge. This isn't the main event of PauperGeddon. This is the Italian Pauper League.
The invitational tournament. Yeah.
Basically the small communities all around Europe all hold tournaments, and the top 8 of those tournaments win invites to today to play in this. So this is the main event today. 124 players. We also have a side event, so to speak, that's happening. That's got again over 100 players battling out in it, and that's just Friday. Tomorrow we kick off PauperGeddon, and that is a 2-day GP-style event with over 700 players already registered to play in that. And that's going to be Pauper. Cannot wait for it. And that's the main event. Yep. And then we've got all the backup side events where there's a special beer that has been brewed for PauperGeddon. And it is a PauperGeddon beer, which is going to be a side event to win a case of that. There's the local food that everybody brings, that everybody after this will have a little bit of the taste of, all these different regions that qualified for this event. Then we've got, I think there's like 4 to 5 artists in the room, something crazy like 8 to 10 vendors in the room. There's all the food trucks outside. And if that's not enough for you.
A lot of artists.
Yeah. If that's not enough for you, you can walk outside and enjoy the amazing view that we got because we were in the middle of the mountains here in Italy, in Pisa.
This is a pretty new location.
It's beautiful.
This first year that we are here in this location, I really like it.
Oh, I love it. It's got air conditioning. If I go through that little room there, I've got my own private bathroom with free showers.
A fridge full of goodies.
A fridge full of stocks, full of cold drink. Like when I say I've turned into a diva chat, I was like on my ride, I was like, I want free showers. I want a stocked fridge. I want air conditioning. And yeah, Boose MTG, shout out to them. You see their logo there above us on the screen.
That saves you from your ice cream.
Yeah, well, look, we didn't talk about the ice cream yet. So one of the food vendors outside, so as the game's still going on, is basically we've added a few more flyers. We've flipped one. We've added a cat, and now on the stack we've got the Galvanic Blast. Well, I know we're talking a lot, but we've seen this a lot. Everyone sees these interactions a lot. We're just trying to fill the dead time a little bit of what's going on, chat. But if you want us to shut up, do let us know. No, don't actually, because I'm not going to read that part with you say shut up. But yeah, one of the food vendors earlier, I bought a lot of cards. So now we're seeing on that. This is interaction. So Galvanic Blast to face.
This is
in
the real
response,
value.
Prevent damage. Prevent damage. Now counterspell being on the stack. We're going to try and prevent damage for a second time. Second counterspell goes on the stack. Now we get Spell Pierce back in return. We don't have the second mana to pay for it. So by the time this all resolves, that Galvanic Blast will not be doing 4 damage to the face. But now we're super low on resources. Just one card left in hand.
This was a crucial counter war.
Luckily, we picked up on that instead of talking about ice cream. You know what I mean? Where there is the... 2 cards in hand. Looks like there's 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
Great. Love to see it. It's very funny what's going on. I love it when you one of the key skills of being a commentator is realizing when you can talk about waffle and other times where you can't talk about waffle. And I think the reason we were firing off that Galvanic Blast, you saw that in the shuffle, there's another Galvanic Blast in hand. So with our opponent only at 7, we were 2, if that one resolved and they dropped to 3, this Galvanic Blast in hand would be enough to be able to get that lethal damage across. We're not in, there's no, are we in risk of dying from the crackback?
This is the power of the Sacred Cat.
Sacred Cat giving it lifelink.
To don't go low of lives.
What is this?
This is the Guardian of Guild Pact, one of the core cards that I was talking about at the beginning of this match. But this is a particular spot that, as you can see, the Grixis player has the multicolor creatures.
Yep.
2 multicolor creatures that now can block.
So this is the 2/3 that has protection from monocolored spells.
Yeah, it's protected from monocolors, but affinity, the only monocolored creatures is in affinity. The only monocolored creatures is the rat. So it's not so effective in this matchup, but he can. He is a big threat, and you must pay respect to it, and don't if you underestimate it can be.
So if you basically don't hold a blocker up or wait to prevent damage, it can just hit you in one shot and get you.
Yeah, of course.
And at the minute, how many gates have we got on the battlefield? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gates on the battlefield. So at the minute, we can give creature plus 5 plus 5.
Islands, so 5 gates.
And here comes another Sneaker Snacker hard cast, and now there's 3 of them.
We need to fix that glare tomorrow. We'll fix.
Look, glare is always going to be a thing in casting and live paper coverage. It's something that we're always going to battle no matter what. We're going to add another gate to the battlefield. Is that going to be the 6th one now? So it's now going to be +6/+6 if we target a creature. It's not clear which one we're targeting, but which
I prefer to attack. With the Sacred Cat. Yeah, I want to gain life here. I know that my opponent play Galvanic Blast that plays Makeshift Munition. Okay, 1 is gone, but you can have the second. I don't know. I prefer to maintain my lives high.
Is there any way to give it trample in this deck? Like, are we just fine just getting back a Sneaky Snacker every turn, using that to block, sacrificing? So one thing we did there is we blocked and sacrificed it before combat damage, so the life wasn't gained. Because obviously, if they get too high on life, then we're not going to be able to get there with a little bit more chip damage as we get towards the middle to late. Because I think I could say at least 2 or maybe even 3 Galvanic Blasts in the graveyard already. We know 1's in hand.
3 no, 1 is the enchantment. Okay. Yes, it doesn't have.
Yeah, chat's kind of just working out because it's not a monocolor because it is 2 colors. It can block it. Okay, we're just going to add a couple artifacts, make a blood token, give us another way to turn and burn through our deck a little bit more.
In this deck is a 2/3 costs 4 protection from Galvanic Blast. Stop. it do nothing other. It has nothing other effect.
So I think we've got a way of drawing cards because like we're looking at there, like do I want to attack? And if we attack, worst case or best case scenario, we're getting one Squadron Hawk off the battlefield. But we do need something to be able to have untapped to block, and then potentially we can just return everything end of turn anyway if we need to. Here comes a Spell Bomb. It looks like we're going to crack that straight away. Exile that graveyard, go one card
just
deeper.
Just draw a card, yeah.
Remember, this is game number 1. You know, this is going to be in for a long one.
It's going to be a long game match. Yeah.
But that's what we want. You know, we want as much amount of gameplay on coverage for all you beautiful people at home as best we can. I don't think it makes a treasure token that sacrifice. That's the one you gain life.
It really is a dispute. I think it was a bargain.
Yeah. It's the bargain one. So you gain life from it. You don't gain the treasure token. Deadly Dispute is the one that you gain a treasure token from it as well, which again just plays into more synergies here if needs be.
Will they end before?
Will they end before?
Hope. I really
Fingers
hope.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Because if not, we're getting some overtime pay. Ica Willspring's going to ECB. We're going to draw a card.
This allows you to make a huge card advantage. I tried to mulligan to 4 with a Dispute, 2 lands, and an Ichor Wellsprings. And it's really easy to regain all that cards that you lost.
All the card advantage.
Lands. You draw a lot of cards, and he's a huge draw engine.
But this isn't a game-winning strategy right now, right? Especially when your opponent's being able to gain so much life in one turn. And right now, we have no blockers.
Yep.
There is nothing to block it on the other side of the battlefield. There's nothing at instant speed that can prevent damage, I don't believe, in the Affinity decks. Not, there's no sort of fog effects. And all we can see, I think there's a counter spell, maybe.
Let me check the list, please. I am so curious.
Or what?
To see why he attacked with all creatures.
I don't know. They didn't attack. They came back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's why they came back.
Ah, okay.
They're not in that one. I don't know where they posted them. Let me have a little look. Is it that one? Nope.
It wasn't the browser, right? Oh, no, okay.
This is the one here. So yeah, it looks pretty stock. There's nothing crazy out of the blue. I think this is just a turn where a big chunk of damage is going to happen as we play Cat.
He's not little, blasted. But he can do a lot of damage.
There's a lot of resources being used.
I prefer to attack with the Cat right now.
Well, it's just come back, right? It just got eternalized. So we played it.
Okay, I was watching the list. Yeah. I lost it.
You can't attack with that right now, so we're going to have to attack with this, leaving back the Squadron Hawk, not using the gate here, so just getting a bit of chip damage in. This seems like a very grindy matchup, and luckily for both these players, it's untimed rounds.
This is a misplay from the Affinity player.
Why is that?
No, he plays right. Okay. He tried to pump the Cat, and Galvanic Blast in response, so cast back and attack. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to block one of these sneaky snackers. No, we're going to block 2 of them. Of course, there's a 2/3 on the battlefield as well. That's the flipped, not Saga, the
Modern Age.
Yeah, thank you.
Vector Glider.
Vector Glider, that's the one.
Yeah, a Trap and Charm is that what co-gates need right now.
But like, the thing is,
exile those creatures.
What I'm trying to think of is why are we doing this? Like, we got 2 points of damage across there. 2 of our creatures go to the graveyard, sure. We're going to be able to get them back, but they're going to come into play tapped, leaving us open to some sort of big swing from either the Cat or the protection, or even just the flyers, or an all-out, turn everything sideways effect. We're only at 11 life, and we're living off the top of our deck at this point. So, like, why are we doing it? Okay, now we've got getting some blockers in. As the Familiar comes down, ETB makes our opponent discard a card. It's going to be another Squadron Hawk, which we've been sat on for a while. Second Familiar comes down. Don't know how many cards are left in hand, but it can't be many.
Heavy.
2 cards by the looks of it. 1 more is going to go to the graveyard. The other Squadron Hawk. Familiar is such a good card. It really is a good card.
In this spot, a lot of more, because co-gates has few resources to use, and -1 in the hand is really heavy right now.
And here comes another resource, right? We're going to crack this. We're going to get 2 more cards back to our hand potentially. It's going to be an Enforcer and another.
Boom.
So use the treasure token for this to come down.
I want you to go to top deck.
Last card.
Let's go.
No more cards. Now we get to add a 4/4/4 to the battlefield. Are we turning the corner now? Is this going to be enough? Bear in mind, there's still a life linker on the battlefield. There's still a way to kind of generate a bit of value. We're going to make a treasure token end of turn. Might as well gain the value. You never know if you're going to need it moving forward.
I don't know. He can gain some life with the cat, and then he has the card to draw.
How much life
he
can
has
we
the
gain?
glider too to block.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we give it +6 maybe. So that could be a 7 powered life linker on the other side.
Eight. I count 8 cards.
Is it 8?
8.
It's an 8, so it could be an 8 power creature.
But he has 2 Basilisk Gate, so he can activate 2 times.
Oh, so wait, we can make it like a 15,
I think
16?
there's the glare. I can see the second card right here, but I think that a second Basilisk Gate.
It looks like
maybe
we targeted it once, or unless it's somehow gained vigilance that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, there's a second Basilisk Gate.
So we're giving it plus
Trying to gain
+7, so 15 power. 15 power coming across. Chump block enabled. 15 life gained. 15-ish life gained. Maybe there's a few less gates than we thought. Maybe there's only 6 on the battlefield, so it would have been +12. But that just changes the game. Just swings it back open. Board state doesn't look great, but with Gates getting to do what it needs to do, having one of its main creatures surviving, being able to get that big hit in. Yeah, it was a chump block, but that's fine. Realistically, we're happy with that. It's rather that or
cat is a
losing the
huge
game.
problem right now. He needs to be resolved to win.
And what's some of the other ways we've got to get it off the battlefield? Obviously, we've seen multiple Galvanic Blasts now. I think there's only one left in the deck.
Yeah, only one, I think. I think that this matchup will end who finished the deck first.
And sorry, I forgot the card, the enchantment that sacrifice a creature or an artifact do 1 point of damage. That's also in the graveyard and been dealt with.
Yeah, he's gone.
Not many ways to be able to do it. And this might just be what we have to do. We're forced to kind of do an all-out attack here, getting across with 4 of the flyers plus the enforcer, of course, a 4/4 with affinity 7 mana. And it looks like we're just going to block one of these familiars. We'll be taking 10 damage here, dropping to 13.
How many fountains do Affinity play? I think 1 or 2.
It looks like 3 copies.
3 copies, okay.
So a little bit of grinding value, but that grinding value is not good enough when your opponent's gaining 12 life every time they do an attack. Like we're just not going to win this race and this value race now. We're deciding where we want to block. Is there any upside to? I love this, right? Like do I block a familiar, which can't come back when you draw multiple cards, but if you do able to get that familiar back from a fountain, then it's going to have a great ETB effect, which we now see cast here.
That's the fountain.
So it comes into play, makes for 1 black mana, also makes a blood token. For 4 mana, we can sacrifice it, return 2 creatures from our graveyard back to our hand. One of them is probably going to be the familiar because it's going to generate us a little bit. It's basically a 1 mana, add a 2 onto the battlefield, draw a card at this point.
2 familiars, I think, at this point.
I think there's only 1 in there, right? But we might be able to get back in and forth. So we'll find out.
Already had it in hand. Okay.
We'll find out another momentarily. So sacrifice this, target the double familiar. You're right, double familiar.
There was 3 familiar the last round.
Oh, one that died last turn and one that got into play now. Okay. So here comes the first one. ETB, discard a card. Because you can't discard a card, I get to draw a card.
Mate, I don't have card in hand. Do what you want.
Exactly. When you start recurring these familiars, this card just seems even better than it was. Casting it once is awesome. Casting it 2, 3 times throughout the whole game and the value that it's going to generate, but we decided not to play the other one. Any reason behind that? By keeping the third copy in hand?
I really don't know. Maybe when he is trying to use on an active resource. For example, if the Colgate players keep a card in hand and pass the turn, I can do a 2-for-1 with the familiar.
Okay.
If you play right now, he's a simply 2-1 flying with no other abilities. If you have not cards in hand.
So it looks like we're going to go to blocks. It's going to be another sneaky. I can't. How many times have I said this same thing? A sneaky.
Sneaky snacker.
Thank you. I'm getting tongue tied here, but we're going to sacrifice it before damage is dealt. And counterspell, yeah, you trying to lay me a beer
all
today.
day. I'm trying all day to offer you a beer.
The card drawn for the turn was counterspell, which means no 2 cards are going to be drawn. So the sneaky snacker is not going to come back out the graveyard. But more importantly, in this point, the damage is not going to happen. So the life is not going to be gained.
Yeah.
Now we get to untap, play the familiar that we knew about. No cards in hand, so we get to draw 1 more card. Really looking for a way to kind of cross that line. We're going to sacrifice the blood token. Land's going to go to the graveyard. 1 more fresh card. We need to draw 1 more card now for that sneaky snacker to come back to hand. How about a forecast? Drawing 2 cards for 1 mana. And we're turning and burning, but we just need to start hitting some of these relevant cards. Here comes combat. This is going to be 12 points damage coming across.
Yeah.
I think 1 card is going to get eaten up in this exchange because we've got a 2/3 flyer. But do we want to be throwing our 2/3 under the bus? And by under the bus, I mean underneath that enforcer because it is a 4/4. How does it work with artifact creatures and protection for monocolored spells? Would the damage still happen? Is it, or does it have protection?
No, the damage is prevented, but for example, if the creature has trample, exceeded damage past the to the player.
Basically, it's a free block on the enforcer.
There was a patch some time ago that used a card that I mentioned at the 2 turns before that used Flaring Pain. Flaring Pain allows you to not prevent the damage
for the turn.
So if you block with the Guardian, Gurmag Angler, for example, Gurmag Angler deal 5 damage to the creature, but due to this protection, the damage is prevented. If you, before the damage, cast...
but because the enforcer's a monocolored, not a monocolored creature, because it's got no color, because it's an artifact.
No, he's not prevent any damage.
So if we block it with our 2/3 that's protection from monocolored, the 2/3 would die, correct?
Yeah,
that's what I was getting at. Yeah, thank you. So it looks like we're doing more cycling here as another fountain comes down, also gets sacrificed. The blood token sacrificed, lands to the graveyard, fresh card to hand, and then we sacrifice that and add 2 more creatures back to our hand, one of them being the familiars, which this song and dance seems great as we get into this late game.
Yeah.
Awkward fist bump. I'm not sure who was able to take that down there. There was no kind of like combat stuff. I think it's just a verbal communication between the 2 players of, okay, you've got me. I'm just not sure which side said you've got me.
And it's only game 1.
Only game 1. Do things get better after game 1 for either of these 2 decks? Well, we've got the lists here in front of us. We'll get the graphic updated, so we'll find out exactly who did take that down. I think like the Affinity player got there, but we will work that out as we get along. So let's have a little look, starting off on the Affinity side. We've got 4 Hydroblasts, 2 Shamans, 4 Hydroblasts, or Red Elemental Blasts, 2 Negates, and 3 Cast into Fires. Anything you like here, bringing in against this Gates deck?
Me as a Grixis player, I want to put all the stack interaction, for example, the Elemental Blast, Pyroblast, and maybe the Negate.
And maybe Negate.
I think that a deck that has access to white mana can cast a lot of the most powerful artifact hate of the format. For example, Dust to Dust, Revoke Existence, Exile Artifact, or something like that. So I want to negate. I really want to negate, of course, for a full set of Dust to Dust. Well, Dust is really, really bad.
I was about to say, moving across to the Gates deck and looking at their sideboard, they've got access to 4 Hydroblast, 4 Pyroblast, 4 Dust to Dust, 2 Dragonfire, and 1 Dispel. Obviously, you spoke about how good Dust to Dust is.
Dust to Dust is a huge against...
For people that don't know what it is, it's sorcery speed, 1 white, 2 white, 1 colorless, exile up to 2 target artifacts or enchantments.
None up to exile 2. So
if
2. If you haven't 2 target, you can cast it.
Oh, so if you don't have the 2, so it's like because
you need
the old word
to cast.
Luckily, card. I feel like there's going to be 2 targets when we fire it off, and it could be backbreaking.
I saw players play need to exile 1 artifact of the opponent and cast that card on one of his land and one card of the opponent just to remove that card that they need to remove in that spot.
It makes sense. And, and that card's really powerful. And the only printing of it, I believe, as well. So, it is a harder card to get hold of, but really a good key card. Because as we spoke about, you're always going to have Grixis lists, affinity lists. And just having literally one of the best cards to it in Access of White, you're going to want to run the full 4 copies of it.
I saw a list of White Weenie playing 4 Dust to Dust in the main deck today.
In the main deck?
In the main, four copies of Dust to Dust in the main deck.
That is a meta call and a half. Because
it's a huge meta call.
What other decks would that be good against? Obviously, it's very good against affinity decks, but is that card going to be completely dead in some matchups?
Only with affinity. Against affinity deck.
Is it not good against... is it Artifact or Enchantment?
No, only Artifact.
Jeez, that really is a hard meta game call. I'm trying to think.
It could really hate of affinity.
Yeah,
maybe the archetype. The entire
got a bit of vendetta there. We're still... Okay, so it looks like that was an all-out swing by the Affinity Grixis list. They weren't able to get there. They made the right blocks, and because they made the right blocks, they were dead on the backswing. So Gates taking down game 1, and looking at the sideboards, it looks like they've got the better sideboard for this matchup as well. So potentially we could see Gates in the finals. We're going to see if we can get updates of our backup feature match as well, which is happening where we've got Wolves versus the Ponza list.
Yeah.
And
I think they had just finished. They finished their match.
Let's see. Let's have a little look what they say a second.
They're quicker than this one.
I'll see if I can get an update on that for everybody on how they're both doing. If I can type correctly with I'm right-handed, by the way, and I'm doing this all with my left hand. No one appreciates that but me. But off to the races, both these decks. So the Wellsprings, a lot of untapped artifact lands, which is what you like to see, especially when they be explosive. Here comes the Fountain. We saw that do a lot of work game 1, but not enough to be able to take down game 1 as we just passed the turn back. And now we've got access to a lot more counter magic in both of these decks, a lot more interaction that can happen at instant speed. You're going to see this, a lot of kind of lands held up, because we don't want to, completely tap out on turn 3 where our opponent on the Gates deck can just free will cast the Dust to Dust or something like that, because that would just completely swing the game. Having a one spell that deals with 2 of our permanents could be pretty backbreaking. As here comes the Saga come down. Negate's going to deal with that. Do you think there's better targets for the Negate, or do you kind of like that making sure we use our mana every turn?
I prefer to. I have no huge interaction. That's not a huge threat, the enchantment. So I prefer to let you resolve and keep the Negate to your Dust to Dust. I think that a Dust to Dust in this spot is really, really bad. For example, on the blue and on the red land.
We're seeing one of the other interactions of the Sneaker Snack here, discarding it for value to the blood token. And then we sack the Ichor Willspring, which draws us 2 cards. Then because the Ichor Willspring goes to the graveyard, we draw another card. And now the Sneaky Snacker comes back. And we drew 4 cards that turn. That's crazy. And got a 2/1.
That's great. Yeah.
And it only costs us 3 mana. That's like high level, modern sort of level of power. That's such cool. See, as now Familiar is going to come down as we sacrifice this treasure token.
Now you understood that hate for that.
I understand it. We got the wheels turning and burning here. We're going to discard the Squadron Hawk from our hand from the ETB from that Familiar.
So much filthy value. Yeah. Yeah, filthy is the right word, I think.
So the backup feature match is still going at the minute. We don't have a result of that. Once I do get a result of our backup feature match, I will let you all know. Because, of course, the winner of that is either going to be Ponza or Wolves, is going to be going up against the winner of this matchup that you're all watching right now, where we've got Grixis Affinity, the most played deck today, especially over the 2 tournaments. And here comes Dust to Dust. Why we're tapped out.
Let's go.
And normally, that card's got Indestructible right on it.
Yeah.
Doesn't
but
matter
not against
exile. And taking away the black mana source, just leaving them with blue and red, that's going to really limit some of the spells that they can cast. We know how important and mana intensive these decks can be, and it's not free in this format to play 3 colors, right? Like you have to play some of the slower taps lands. Yes, some of them come into Indestructible and come into play as artifacts because they're the artifact lands, but it leaves you open to cards like this Dust to Dust as we see it being resolved.
Too risky to expose so much. I prefer to play a little bit slowly I don't need a huge and fast board here to attack you. I prefer to use that negate on that does as I predicted.
There's another negate in hand as well. I think that's maybe why we fired it off a bit too early.
He was up and out.
Yeah. It's almost like you can't tap out. But
that's a huge error, I think.
At what point are you willing to take that risk? And this is another good card. A little bit of interaction we're going to see. Squadron Hawk's going to come down here. Add 2 more cards to the grip because obviously 1 got discarded earlier from the familiar. And these 2 in hand can just we can play them as blockers for these 2 ones on the battlefield, which we'll be able to trade, or we can keep them in hand for any more familiars that come down and have them as just discard fodder. But we're going to pass the turn. We know there's negate backup. No double blue for that counter spell in hand, though. 5 land, potentially. We could play the 6 for the turn if we draw it.
We need Blood Moon. No, please.
No. Let's not be silly.
That's the Basilisk Gate.
Let's not be silly. Like, you know what I mean? I'm new to the format and I'm against that. That's how scary that card can be. Squadron Hawk comes down. ETB, we can go search up some more cards with the name Squadron Hawk, but we've already done that once, so we know they're not in the deck, so we choose against it. Leaving up 4 mana and passing the turn back, but now we've got black mana available if we want to go that route. First, we're going to start off with tackling the Sneaky Snacker, which makes me think we've got ways to draw some cards.
I think that he's baiting the Kogate, the Ledda, Simon Ledda. He's baiting a Traben Charm. I think he has 2 Traben Charms in the hand, and he's waiting the reanimation effect to exile the graveyard.
So Fraven Charm, Fraven Charm we spoke about. We see realistically it's one of the standout cards I would say for Modern Horizons 3 that it wasn't on people's radars. Everyone was going on about the Familiar, which is amazing, and we've seen it do so much effect. But Sneaky Snacker and the Fraven Charm are really cards that wasn't on radars that people are picking up on now. And if we can get to a point where these Sneaky Snackers are all in the graveyard and they try to bring them back and we're able to exile that graveyard of them all in, that could be a huge tempo swing in this matchup. And we're already a game up. So now the shields are semi-down yet again. So another dust to dust could be resolving here. Maybe taking out 2 more lands. We can cut them off black and blue if one is in hand, but don't have a good look at it. As this is just going to hard cast.
Okay, I want to draw cards here. And that's nice. Draw 3 is always good, I think, in Magic. They told me that draw is always good in Magic, so draw 3 cards.
Don't listen to him. I'm an infect player. You know what I mean? It's fine letting your opponent have all these cards, but the shields are down. So
give poison to the opponent.
Well, I actually play that. That Poison Storm does play that card. I'm not going to lie, but look at our life total. Getting drained down to 8 at the minute. That could be only 2 attacks or 2 Galvanic Blasts in this situation as well. And there's no way, there's no Sacred Cats around at the minute, so there's no lifelink effects that potentially to get us out of this burn range. So,
and Affinity has a good presence on the board. He's beating for 4 every turn.
Yep.
And the handful of resources, so is too resilient to deal with. I really have a lot of fear when I play against Grixis because there's no a point when he stops. He always continue. The only moment in which he stops is when finish the cards in the deck.
But yeah, when you got no more cards left and you draw them all.
That's horrible to play against.
No double blue though, so we know we don't have to play around counter spell, but there could be a lot of other cards floating around. It could be Pyroblast, Hydroblasts.
Yeah, Ledda needs to do something because he's pretty dead. He has a swing and a Galvanic from the death. So
Squadron Hawk, the last one.
Needs something to stabilize the situation.
So basically, if the best we can do is play a 1/1 flyer for the turn as a blocker at this point. End of turn. So end of turn, we're going to sacrifice this blood token, pick counter spell into our graveyard, go a card deeper, and then go to our untap phase. Cool. I thought like we were doing some crazy affinity convoked card then. I was like, I haven't seen this card yet. But nope. Sneaky Snacker is going to come across. Here's the 2/1, potentially trying to drop down to 6.
Charm, I think.
So again?
Here's the spot of Thraben Charm.
You think, okay, so we basically, you're thinking trade, Fraven Charm,
I think,
exile the graveyard.
I think that's the move. No?
No, just take it. Go down to 6. Maybe we don't have a Fraven Charm in hand. And also there's negate on the other side. Just passing the turn back after playing our land drop. Another affinity land. This time the black source.
Draw and discard.
this could be the crucial turn. Really needs something powerful to happen to kind of stabilize what's going on, at least stem the bleeding. We're going to discard another copy of it, play another gate, which brings our total of gates up to 1, 2, 3. I think every land's a gate so far, right? I think that brings us up to like 8 gates. End the turn, we're going to...
Which card is this one?
I think that's one of the gates, but I think that's a token pit in it to show that it's on red.
Oh,
so it can generate red mana.
Okay, red token. Okay.
So here we're going to sacrifice the fountain, go 2 more cards deeper, generate a treasure token, which more importantly gives us the second blue we might need if we're to try and keep up our counter magic. Now we're going to sacrifice the Sneaky Snacker. That's going to eat a Spell Pierce, but no Fraven Charm while we're tapped out on the other side. But we're just speculating there could be a Fraven Charm in hand. We haven't seen it yet. We also haven't seen the optimal time to fire it off just yet. I do think I see a Galvanic Blast in hand, though.
Too risky. He's really, really low.
Okay, another
Blood Fountain.
Here comes another one. I think this is the 3rd one. 3 copies in the main. Generates a Blood Treasure token.
They're gone. Oh, right. Okay, one is on the graveyard. And
I think one in the graveyard and 2 in play. Blood tokens, obviously, for 1 mana base, you can generate 2 more artifacts on the battlefield, which is ideal when your cards have affinity attached to them. Means you can play some of these Marin Enforcers, the big 4/4 affinity, 7 mana normally, but not in these decks.
An asset that gave a lot of boost to affinity. That
Crimson
Blood
Rose
Fortune was one of them, and the other was Wedding Invitation. That is an artifact, costs 2. When enter, you draw a card and allows you to by sacrificing it to make a creatures unblockable. And when that card was playable, there was ATOG legal in the format.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah. There's a reason why that card went pretty quickly after the printing. But then that opens the gates, literally opens the gates for more different decks to be built, one of them being this gates. Here comes a Dust for Dust. While the shields are, I say down, they're not particularly down. There is still that treasure token on the battlefield. We could end up seeing a gate fired off here. Maybe this is going to be a bit of a counter battle. Or are we happy for these 2 to get removed from the battlefield or exiled? Nope, we're going to fire off in the gate. We're going to see the red Pyroblast to that negate. So by the time everything is done, this Dust to Dust will resolve, and the Enforcer plus the blue source is gone. That is off the battlefield. No more blue mana for you.
That's bad.
It means that you know your spells are going to be resolving, right? That's the key part of it. Here comes Sacrifice the Sneaky Snacker. Draw 2 cards.
That's the spot of a Trap and Charm.
Yeah, if we've got the charm, this is the bonus, and that's the charm. So
I told ya.
3 different modes on it. One is deals 2 damage for every 1 creature you have to target creature. The other one is destroy target enchantment. The one being used here is exile target player's graveyard. And doing that while the Sneaky Snacker's in the graveyard, really good, especially when you've got 2 fountains.
That's a lot. He has 1 remaining in the deck.
Does have to still watch out though. If we're going low on resources here, we're still only at 6 life. Still no way of gaining life on the battlefield, and we haven't seen any Galvanic Blast cast this game.
Yeah.
This has got to be on the back of their mind here. Here comes Brainstorm. Brainstorm, not Stone. Completely different card.
Yeah.
Just as powerful though, I'd argue.
Yeah.
Just as powerful.
They do the same thing. Bad.
Okay, question for you, question for chat. What Brainstorm art do you use?
What art? Huh?
Yeah, which art do you use?
I think that I used the one from I don't remember what
that's not giving me hope that you don't know which one.
I don't know what master is. Modern Horizon 1? I don't know. Wait.
You're going to look at while they're going through. Well, not really many game actions. It does look like we've got another Dust to Dust on the battlefield, though. Galvanic Blast to face. But the damage is going to be prevented in response when then the Dust to Dust is going to resolve. So that's the 3rd Dust to Dust now cast, taking out 2 more lands. And that's going to be the indestructible dual lands coming off the battlefield. That Galvanic Blast got pretty much negated for 3 mana in this instance, prevent all damage. And because we've still got a white untapped creature, we know that can get flashback from the graveyard at any moment's notice. So that in itself is a great interaction towards his Galvanic Blast that we were talking about. Oh, actually, it looks like there's one already in exile, so maybe there's only 2 left in the deck. Sorry, what art did you say you use your brainstorms? Oh,
I used these ones from the mystical achiever of
Strixhaven. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that. I would have picked you on
That's
something different.
That's not my favorite art, but I have this.
Chat saying Ice Age. A lot of Ice Ages in chat. Okay, cool. I've got the I think they're like again from Strixhaven, like the Japanese ones that were done for that. Like
no, they cost too much. It's a Pauper deck.
No.
It will cost more than the deck.
They're in my legacy deck. I'm not gonna lie to you. They are in my legacy deck. Familiar is going to the bin. Why did we miss something? Why is that going to go to the bin here? Fraving Charm's in the graveyard already. Oh, maybe, I think we use Fraving Charm to get it off the battlefield. Here comes a Galvanic Blast to the face. Or is it going to go? Yeah, it's going to go to the face. So the Hawk's going to get tapped now to prevent it. 2 damage coming across. So now, hold on.
It was pumped with the Basilisk Gate.
That's a big swing for 8 damage. That isn't a little 2-3. That is a 8-9. Quick math.
No, the Galvanic Blast was not on the face, but on the.
In the response to the pump of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In response to the activation of Basilisk Gate.
And that got prevented. Now, Familiar, no cards in hand, so we get to draw a card. This is a good way to try and rebuild and kind of structure this up, plus being able to add some power to the battlefield to get some damage across. But now that 3 Galvanic Blasts are done, there's only 1 more we need to play around, and they only do 4 damage. So while we sit at 6, that is a nice, comfy life total to try and keep doing what we do. We really want to see a Sacred Cat or something like that, so we can start getting the life gain going. We're going to pump the Squadron Hawk.
And block.
That's going to go to the bin, sure. Well, what is that 1 card in hand? Well, we're passing the turn back. We're keeping it in here. Could be a... Here comes another Familiar. I think that was just drawn for the turn. What's that last card? It was just an island.
Okay.
And the reason we kept that in hand is because we didn't want to have no cards so they get to go a card deeper. We're more happy just discard an island.
Why not?
Which means, is a blank card to us. Also, it means our opponent doesn't go 1 card deeper.
Yeah, it has no utility on the board. So why can't I feint something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a nice bluff. If you don't need on the battlefield, why not?
1 mana, Brainstorm.
That's good.
Different art, I'm going to point out.
I really hate different art.
Oh, so look, I'm glad you said it because I was thinking it. But some people love playing the whiteboard basics, love playing the mix matching cards, and that's why they do it, right? You know what I mean? It gets you thinking about something else that's not the game, gets your head out the matchup. 5 mana now. Is this going to be a Lorien's Revealed that was found? It is a Lorien's Revealed. Now, will it resolve? Of course, the powerful card from the Lord of the Rings that got printed almost this time last year is when this came out.
That's huge.
The fact that it resolves and we can draw the 3 cards is great. If we could potentially find go land, removal spell, get in there with 1 big swing, that would be a 2-turn clock. I don't know how many cards we've got left in hand for this Affinity Grixis list. Maybe we've been outgrinded. Oh yeah, yes. Let's go to combat.
I think that there is a thing that makes me trigger more than different art on a play set.
Is it people that play Poison Storm?
No, it is the white bordered card.
White bordered? You're not a fan of the white bordered?
I hate them. No.
Chat, what are we saying about white bordered?
I hate them.
Are we pro or against white bordered
cards? The
cards?
last champion of the Paupergeddon, Pietro Bergiotto.
Yep. Forecast off the top. Pyroblast in response.
He painted off whiteboard every card. So his full deck is white bordered. I really hate it.
Some people just like to watch the world burn. Brainstorm. Look at the top 3. Hit the top 3 cards into our hand. Put 2 back on top. I think that's another dust to dust, and we're putting it back. Don't even want to fire it off in this spot.
Another Basilisk Gate. This is huge.
Now, can we pump both creatures here? How many gates are on the battlefield? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We pump both of them, both lethal creatures. No answers for it, and we are going to see gates into our finals here. Woo! That looked It looked pretty, but to be fair,
It's a heavy and grindy matchup. But
3 dust to dust got cast.
Yeah.
When you're putting dust to dust back on top of your deck from a brainstorm, and your opponent's got no cards in hand, and you choose not to fire it off, you know you've got something good in your hand.
Big
and
brain,
you know it's
big
going
brain
your
play
well.
there. Yeah.
Huge shout out to the deck pioneer. Let's see if we got.
Simuleda. I know personally Simuleda. He's a very, very good player. He's a very, very good player. But I'd like to leave my place right now to allow Gavin to join us.
Oh, Gavin's going to do the finals, I believe, right? Is he not? I think
That's not the final.
No, the next round. I think we're gonna. They're gonna sort out what's happening on this phone. We'll end up having a break if we need to. Someone will tell us what to do. I'm trying to get the result of the backup feature match.
What about the beer?
T's and C's of Twitch. T's and C's of Twitch. They're not going to let me get crack a beer. We're going to have to do that a little bit later on when I go watch the football in the hotel, which is going to be pretty awesome. But for everybody just tuning in, you tune in at the end of the day. We've only got one more round after this, and that is going to be the finals. That is where we're going to crown the top Pauper player.
Yep.
Which let's start from the very beginning. Okay, what's happened months and months ago in advance? We've got the LPI, or in English,
IPI.
the Italian Pauper League,
Yeah.
which has happened all around Europe. Different locations, different organizations of Pauper enthusiasts coming together, battling it out, trying to get in that top 8. If they get in the top 8, then they get invites to today, which is the finals happening the day before PauperGeddon kicks off. This is the pre-show. 124 players turned up, battling out. We've worded it down to at least the final 3 that we know about. I'm seeing if it's the final 2. It looked like I've just been told Wolves won, taking down Ponza, so we fought. So that means we're going to have a Wolves versus Gates final.
Yeah.
We could build a house with all those walls and gates going on. No more jokes like that, I promise.
One is the natural enemy of the other, so I think it's a good matchup to see for a final.
Is there a favorite? Is there a clear favorite in that matchup?
I hate Ponza. I really hate
but Ponza's not in the finals. It's fine. Talking about Gavin, here he comes. The next.
We're waiting for you.
But that's going to be it. We're going to step out of there. We're going to get the finals to you ASAP. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for, of course, Paupergeddon starts. That is a 2-day GP event. Over 700 players battling it out. Going to be really sick to see what Modern Horizons 3 does in it. We've had a small taster of it today, but we'll be back tomorrow with lots more of that. Don't go anywhere because we've got the finals. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.